All right, Sean, we're making one of your favorite baking sweet treats. Can you guess what it is by the ingredients?
Not by that, but by that, yeah. Chocolate chip something.
What do you think it is?
Brownies?
No, come on.
Blondies?
Chocolate chip cookies.
Oh.
This
flour,
is our mystery ingredient. Do you even know what this is?
Those are chickpeas.
Okay, good job, good job.
I've seen those before.
So you're not gonna know that they're in this recipe. For this recipe, you'll need 2½ cups of oat flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 3/4 cup of sweetener, 1 cup of applesauce, 1 can of chickpeas, 1 egg, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 1 cup of chocolate chips. So we're gonna add our chickpeas to the food processor as well as the rest of our ingredients, but just save the chocolate chips for last. We'll kind of stir those in. You wanna help me add our ingredients?
Does it matter if it's wet or dry?
That's a good question. It's probably easier to blend up if we add our wet ingredients first, so you can add the applesauce next. I'll get you a little spatula here. Here you go. Sean, since this show is all about surprises, I thought it'd be fun to talk about how I've never actually been able to surprise you, except for maybe a handful of times.
Ooh, I don't know about
Can you think about one of the times I surprised you? And how is it that I never surprise you? Why is
I'm really good at guessing.
That's true.
That's because I think we were just talking about last night in the show. I always seem to know
what's gonna happen.
What's gonna happen.
That's true. And you know me so well. We've been together since we were 16.
Yeah.
And so you just know me. You know something's off or if I'm acting funny. True. So it's really hard to surprise you.
And I feel like I tend to overlook our finances a little bit more. So I tend to see what you're doing.
True.
You ever done like an episode where like every time they break from like you close up, the next time they shoot you, you have a different outfit on, then again, and then again, and again?
No.
Okay. How many outfits did Katie wear in this segment?
Okay. Okay, so we just blended that up just until the chickpeas are completely smooth. And then I'm gonna add this to a bowl so I can add my oat flour. My food processor is a little bit small to do that, everything in one, but you could do that all in a food processor if you have a big one. This is literally my biggest food processor, so. I'm gonna add all of that batter.
I know what I'm getting you for Christmas.
Oops. We're gonna add all of that batter to the bowl, but don't leave the sharps in. You can put that in this thing. So we're gonna add our oat flour and our chickpeas and stir it up. So can you think of a time that I surprised you?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that, and the biggest surprise that comes to mind is when you bought me, for Christmas, you bought me tickets to Pebble Beach for a pro golf tournament.
Did I?
You don't remember? Maddie was really young, so.
Oh yes, now it's all coming back.
I don't think I was expecting that, but that was like one of the coolest surprises because I think I opened it and you had like pebbles and sand in this jar, and I was so confused, and I was like, what is this? And then you told me what it was for, so
and
it was
then,
really cool.
And then what I remember about that trip was that Maddie was 6 months old, and Emily was my neighbor at the time, so she brought her, at that point, 1-year-old Easton over, and we were just hanging out, and before you know it, a snowstorm started.
Yeah, I remember that.
And in Michigan, snowstorms aren't just like a little flurry here or there. No, we actually got trapped in the house. We couldn't open the garage door. It actually would not open, nor could we open our front door because we got so much snow overnight. She spent the night. And we thought it would be fun to have a little sleepover until the snowstorm lasted for 4 days. Yeah. And we had a 1-year-old and a 6-month-old, and
you couldn't get out of the driveway.
Yeah, very little food. And Emily didn't have the right size diapers. So we had to use my 6-month-old diapers on her 1-year-old. There were many things that were quite crazy about that. And you were in what, California?
I was in California.
Enjoying the sunny golf course. So that's what I remember about that trip.
Yes. I'm sorry. It was your fault.
Yes. Well, when I think about surprising you, of course, my favorite surprises were telling you that I was pregnant. Yeah. I think that was one of the most fun surprises, obviously, in our marriage. So with Maddie, I got to tell you when you came back from a men's retreat. So like it was a retreat through our church. And I was so glad that he was gone. I was so glad that he was gone.
You would give it away?
I would have just came out of the bathroom and just like been like, I'm pregnant. So it was actually really great that he was gone because that gave me time to think through how I wanted to surprise him. So I bought a big box of donuts and I told him, hey, I bought you donuts when you were gone. And he's like, what? Like, I don't ever buy him donuts unless it's his birthday. That's when you get donuts. And so he's like, oh, where are they? And I said, on the counter. So he opened up the box and there was a little onesie in there that said God answered. And I'll never forget, you cried.
We have it recorded.
Yeah, you cried for about an hour.
I did cry. We waited so long.
I know. Yeah. And then telling you with Ollie, we were actually doing a family photo shoot and I didn't know I was pregnant, but I had a hunch. I felt a little strange and it was right before we left for our photo shoot. I took a test and it was positive.
And you were acting weird, I remember.
Yeah.
You were like nervous and like just...
So I almost gave it away, I'm sure.
Gave it away.
And so we got to the photo shoot and I pulled out a little baby onesie that I grabbed just before we walked out the door and told you that way, right in the photo shoot. So there's all the pictures of that. So those were probably my favorite surprises.
Yeah.
So these cookies, do they look like chocolate chip cookies?
Yes.
As of right now? So we're gonna bake these 375 degrees for 8 to 12 minutes until they're just set.